Okay. Hello and welcome to Super Rugby Round 19 Predictions, brought to you by DrivingMaul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place for rugby predictions and opinion. We have finally reached the last round of the regular season in Super Rugby, and there are still a couple of things to sort out. We know the 9 teams that the 8 teams the quarterfinals will come from. We still have to decide whether it's going to be the Rebels or the Sharks sneaking in to that 8th place in the table. Also, can the Jaguares overtake the Lions to top the Africa Conference? Will the Waratahs slip down out of 2nd seed into 3rd seed? There are a number of things that could happen. So let's run through. If you want to know how I think the quarterfinals are going to pan out, I have I talked about it on the Hash Rugby chat show, so go check that out as well. But let's just run through and just talk about the games that we're going to see this weekend. Obviously, this is before the squads have been announced. I'll run through all the squads on Thursday. So first up, we have the Chiefs versus the Hurricanes in Hamilton. This is basically going to be a preview of the game we're going to get in the quarterfinals. These two teams will meet each other, probably in Wellington, but it may also be in Hamilton. So this game is important from that point of view. The Chiefs have to win by 24 points with a try bonus point, and obviously if they win by 24 points, that will also stop the Hurricanes from getting that losing bonus point, and that will put the Chiefs not only on the same points as the Hurricanes, but those 24 points will be enough to see them climb above them on I've gone blank. Points difference. That's it. Now the Chiefs are going to have to rest. Are going to be resting Sam Cane. They've also got to rest DMAC because he's not rested he's not had his 2 compulsory games off from All Blacks duty, whereas the Hurricanes will have Shields, Fafita, Bowden Barrett all available to them, I believe. So with that in mind, I say the squads haven't actually been announced yet, but with that in mind, I think the drop-off from Dave McKenzie down to Martin McKenzie is quite a big drop-off for the Chiefs. Also missing Sam Cane as well. I'm going to back the Hurricanes to get a rare away win in New Zealand derbies, backing the Hurricanes by 3. Normal rules say if there's a New Zealand team playing another team, back the New Zealand team. If it's a New Zealand derby, back the home team. Obviously, you don't count the Blues as a New Zealand team. The Witch King, I'll get on to the Sharks-Jaguares game later. DC Birdie B, the Chiefs to win. I disagree. I think it's with the Hurricanes. Let's see how that one pans out. So I'm backing the Hurricanes by 3. We then head over to Australia for the Reds hosting the Sunwolves. And the Sunwolves had a decent season. They picked up 3 wins. They beat the Reds at home. And then obviously they beat the Stormers in Hong Kong and the Bulls in Singapore. The Reds got beaten, ended a 5-game losing streak with a win last weekend over the Rebels. And I think they'll be looking at finishing off the season on a high. And so I'm going to back the Reds to win this one by 5. Obviously, the Sunwolves lost last weekend with that red card and another yellow card in the last 10 minutes, or just about 10 minutes to go, which helped the Waratahs run away with that one. So obviously the Sunwolves will need to maintain their discipline and keep all their players on the park. And they could definitely beat the Reds, but I think home advantage is what I'm going with here. So the Reds by 5. Then into Saturday, and the opening game, or the first game on Saturday, is down in Dunedin. The Highlanders hosting the Rebels. The Highlanders coming off the back of a 2-game losing streak, but so are the Rebels as well, losing to the Tars and the Reds. So you've got to say I'm backing the Highlanders this one by 10. I think that's going to knock the good chance of knocking the Rebels out of the playoffs. And the Rebels are currently sat in 8th and can be overtaken by the Sharks. So them losing doesn't mean they'll get knocked out. they'll still have to wait for the last game of the round to hear about that. So I'm expecting a quite comfortable victory there for the Highlanders over the Rebels. Sure, the Highlanders lost, was it to the Chiefs up in Fiji, and then to the Crusaders last weekend. But I think, the Rebels at home, under that roof, is a different prospect entirely. We then head up to the Christchurch, where the Crusaders host the Blues. And let's be honest, the Blues don't really stand a chance here. I'm backing the Crusaders by 15. The Blues have been poor this season, just 4 wins. The Crusaders got 13 wins out of 15. They're going to finish top of the first seed and have a home path all the way to the final if they get there. The only hope for the Blues is if the Crusaders basically rest their entire first team, because this result doesn't matter to them. And obviously the result doesn't matter for the Blues either. But I just don't think that's happening. I'm backing the Crusaders by 15 in that one. We then head over to Australia, where the Waratahs host the Brumbies, and as the Lions won't have played at this point, the Waratahs will just have to go for the win to try and maintain that second seed position. And why is that important? That's important because that keeps you away from the Highlanders, basically, and instead you're going to have probably have the Jaguares come visit rather than the Highlanders. Now, obviously, the Jaguares did fantastic in Australia New Zealand tour, but still, I think you probably want to face the Jaguares rather than the Highlanders come knockout rugby. Both these sides actually on some decent run of results at least, or run of form. A lot of people say, the Waratahs didn't have a great game last weekend against Sunwolves, but they didn't need to. Sunwolves had a red card and a yellow card as well, and they're on a 3-game winning streak now. The Brumbies lost last weekend to the Chiefs, but they did beat the Hurricanes at home that weekend before and did have a 3-game winning streak going into that. So this one should be quite a pretty good game, a pretty close game. And I'm going to back the Waratahs. I'm thinking with home advantage by 3. This one really could go either way, but I say I'm going to go with home advantage in this one. And why is it so important for the Tars to win that one? Because the Lions are hosting the Bulls. The Lions have only lost once to South African opposition in the last couple of years, and that was last weekend against the Sharks, and that was away. So they've not lost at home for a very long time to South African opposition. Sure, the Bulls are coming off that win against the Jaguares last weekend, which showed a lot of resolve to come back from quite a lot of points down in that first half. So, the Bulls will have plenty of confidence. The Lions coming off the back of that had a bye last week, and that loss the weekend before, but still, the Lions' record against South African teams, is very strong. Backing the Lions to win that one by 7. The Lions clearly are not the team they have been the last couple of seasons. So even though it looks like they're going to top the Africa Conference, don't expect can't see them necessarily going very deep into the finals. Probably not making the final. Finally, the game that is perhaps the most important game of the round is the Sharks hosting the Jaguares. Basically, on the assumption that the Rebels have lost earlier in the weekend to the Highlanders, the Sharks have to win this one to make it into finals rugby. Sure, it's a bit of a poison chalice. It means travelling to Christchurch to play the Crusaders, but hey, it's better off going to Christchurch than being on your holidays already. So, I was thinking a couple of weeks ago that this was, or before last weekend's game, that this was going to be, I was going to be backing the Jaguares in this one. But then, after that loss to the Bulls last weekend, I'm afraid I'm going to have to go with the Sharks and home advantage. The Sharks have been one of, you've heard me say this lots of times this season, one of the most disappointing teams this season, because we just had so much hope for them, and we just expected them to be challenging the Lions at the top of this conference. They've not really done that all season. But their home record has been pretty good. They've only lost once at home, that was to the Bulls. They did have a draw against the Tars as well early in the season, but they've won all their other home games. Their away record, though, has been woeful. And that's why they've only got 6 wins so far this season. Jaguares with 9 wins, so will still stay above them, and are going to make the finals for the first time, which is fantastic news. It's just a shame that they slipped up against the Bulls last weekend, because that would have put them above the Lions and with a shout. And if the Bulls do beat the Lions, then and the Jaguares win this one, they do get to top of the conference, and then get a home quarter final, which would be fantastic for them. I just can't see the Lions losing, and I think the Sharks will also win as well. So I'm backing the Sharks to win this one by 5. Those are my thoughts. Please let me know your thoughts. Always, I've got a rugby chat, so comments down below or on Twitter or wherever else you can find me. Let's have a chat. Also, please do hit that like button, share with all your friends, and that kind of stuff. You can really help us by reaching more people. It'd be really much appreciated. So thank you for watching, and enjoy whatever rugby you're watching this weekend.